Hi, this video is on scatter plots, lines of best fit, and using your CAS calculator. At the end of this video, you should be able to draw a scatter plot on a CAS calculator, find the line of best fit, find the equation that represents the line, and copy your scatter plot out. So the example we're going to look at is the owner of a soft drinks vending machine. He records the daily temperature and records the number of cans that he sells, and he does this over an 8-day period. This information is represented in the table here and is then produced on a graph here. So when the temperature is 20 degrees, he sells 82 cans, and when 22 degrees, 120 cans. When it drops to 10 degrees, it also drops to 60 cans. So there seems to be a relationship between the temperature and the number of cans. We can't say anything definite about that yet, but what we can do is plot it and see what it looks like. That's what's happened over here. Along the x-axis we have what we call our independent variable, so that's the thing that changes over time usually, and here we have the thing that we are measuring that against, and we're looking for a change and we're expecting a change, and in this case it appears that as the temperature rises, so does the number of cans sold, which you might expect because these are cold drinks and people like cold drinks on a hot day. One way to try and remember which is which here, the dependent variable that goes here is the thing that depends upon the first one. So number of cans sold depends upon the temperature, but the temperature does not depend upon the number of cans sold. If he suddenly went out and sold some more cans, it doesn't mean that the temperature would then change. The temperature is going to be what the temperature is, and then the number of cans sold depends upon that. Okay, we're going to look at doing a scatter plot on your CAS calculator of this scenario. So we're going to try and replicate this here on your calculator. So bring your calculator up, and what you need to do is go into the stats menu here. That brings up this screen here, and we have two lists of data, and we're going to put list 1 is going to be our independent variable, which was the temperature. So in here we're going to put 20, 22, 10, 8, 25, 27, 21 and 12. There's our 8 pieces of data. Over here in list 2 we're going to put the number of cans sold, so 82, 120, 60, 45, 130, 120, 110 and 74. It's important you put them in the right order because they link up together, they match. You can't just put them in any old order, so they have to go together like that. Now once you've got that, what we can go up to is to set graph, where we can look at, there's all sorts of different graphs that we can do. Now stat graph 1, if I click on that and click on the setting, here's where I can specify what type of graph I want. So I want a scatter graph, which is the first one. You can see there are lots of different types like histograms and box plots and all sorts of things there. What I want is a scatter plot. It's picking up the information, so my X list, my independent variable, that comes from list 1. My Y list, so that's going to be on the Y axis. Dependent variable comes from list 2, second list here. Frequency, leave as 1, and mark, it's up to me what I do here. I could have squares or crosses or large dots. That's just how it'll draw it. So let's put a cross on and see what we get. Now once you've done that, I can click on this icon here, and there we go. It's drawn me the graph with those X's on. Now if we have a flick back, you'll see we've got the same pattern. 3 going up there, there's a bit of a gap as there is here, and then we've got those 5 points there, like that. Okay, so now what we're going to look at next is copying this plot across, so sketching that scatter plot. You don't have to draw this out if it says to sketch it on graph paper or anything like that, but you do have to use a ruler for your axes. So you draw it like that, and then you'd put each point on like that. And it's very important that you label your axes, so you say what it is down here, and this was temperature. and you have to say what your units are. So it was degrees Celsius, I think. And over here on this axis, we have the number of cans sold. That's measured in cans, so we could put that there. Okay, now the final thing we have to do is to put some sort of scaling on here so that we know where these points lie. Now we can do that along the axes, or we can label some points. So if I just take that out of the way, we could label a few points, such as this one down here. Our first one was 8:45. This one here would be easy to do. That was the highest one, which was 130, so that was 25:130. Oh, sorry, no, it wasn't. That one was 25:130. This one here was our fourth point, so 8, 10, 12, 20, that would be 2082. You don't have to label all of them, you can just do a few to get an idea of the scaling. You can also put it along here. You don't have to do every single line, so you don't have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 20, 30 would be sufficient. And up here we could have, let's see, it goes from 0 to, what's the highest number? So it goes up to 130 there. So we could have, say, 140, 70 in the middle. That would be kind of sufficient scaling. Okay, something else it might be worth mentioning is the broken axis that was on here. If you have a gap between the bottom part here and the first one here, you can see that each one of these is worth 20. So you've got 140, 120, 122, 100. So each square is worth 20 cans. And down here, they've broken the axis because this one has 40. So we've broken the axis there. This one hasn't because it goes up in 5, so it's just gone 0 to 5. But if you need to break the axis to bring it down, sometimes what you get is, if you don't break the axes, is a really big gap and then some data that's all kind of squashed up. So you can break the axis, bring it all down, and that gets it all into this bottom left-hand corner. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to have a look at is finding the line of best fits. So you can imagine that if we were trying to do it by hand, we might put in a line of best fit that was maybe something like that. But that's just doing it by eye, by hand, trying to look at what you think might fit in best. We can actually calculate the line of best fit. What it does is it finds out what the average temperature was, the average number of cans sold. It goes through that point, and it also minimises the distances from all of the other points to that line. Actually, it minimises the squares, but we don't have to do that calculation. So what we're going to do is calculate that by clicking in here. So we click back into our table of values and go to calc. Now we're going to do a regression. It's called a linear regression. A linear because it's a straight line. So this linear reg, we'll click on that. The X list again is list 1 and the Y list is list 2. The frequency is 1, leave that as it is. And if you say copy formula yes, get in the habit of doing that. Don't worry about the residuals for now, that's something we'll look at later. But copying the formula is going to pull it into something we could use later. Click OK. Now this is actually given as the equation. It doesn't quite look like it yet, but the straight line equation is y equals ax plus b, where a is the gradient and b is where it cuts the y-axis, which would be down here somewhere. Now A we've got is 4.1724 and B is 17. So that means that the line of best fit is y equals 4.17 to 2 decimal places x plus 17. So that is the equation of our line of best fit. But what we can do as well, and what I want you to see here, is that you can draw it in, just click OK, and there we go. Our line of best fit has appeared in here. Okay, that's everything we wanted to look at today. So, just to quickly recap, use your CAS in stats mode to do the scatter plot. Always use a ruler for your axes. Always label your axes and include units. Take care with your points. Make sure you include scaling. You can label several points, or you can make sure that your axes are numbered correctly. And when you're doing your linear reg, click back into the table to do it, and you can then get your line of best fit. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. See you next time.